Hi, so I've been asked on more than one occasion by subscribers to my free therapist resources list, which you'll find a link to somewhere around here, or there'll be a little box to put your name and email and address in, probably below this. Failing that, there'll be a link to it. I've been asked by a couple of people about eye-accessing cues, and if I do a short video on eye-accessing cues. In fact, I've just been reminded this morning, so thank you, Suzanne, for the reminder, and I'm sorry it's late. I was meant to do this a couple of months ago, but I just got busy. So the thing is with eye-accessing cues, and particularly for therapeutic use and within hypnosis and NLP, is I think the main important thing is to not take things at face value. There's a lot that's been written, and if you just Google eye-accessing cues, you'll find lots and lots of diagrams that probably look something like this. And they all show the same thing. Usually, the easiest way of remembering it is you have constructed on this side as you're looking at the person, so that's on their right or your left, and remembered on their left or your right, and the usual visual, auditory and kinesthetic. So if they look up here, they're constructing something visually, remembering something visually up there, auditory the same, and kinesthetic the same. This is auditory digital down here, which is to the client's bottom left and reversed for you. The problem with that is that everybody's different. Many people take this model and use it in their therapy rooms, and it's not only doing yourself a disservice as a therapist, but more importantly, it's doing your client a disservice, and it's potentially robbing them of some great therapy. And you see, one of the problems is that everybody's different. Now, that's not a problem, it's a good thing, but when you're using this construct that's been bandied around the internet and written about, it can cause problems. You see, everybody's different. Some people, for instance, when they visualise, will just stare straight ahead. They'll just stare straight ahead like I'm looking at the camera. That can be how they visualise. Some people, the constructed and the remembered are reversed. Some people just don't even have them. And another thing is, you have to be quite skilled at picking these up, because sometimes they happen in an instant. Sometimes you'll get people who'll sit and think about something, so they'll go like this, and their eyes will go up here, and then they'll talk to you. But sometimes it's as quick as just darting about while they're accessing the information very, very quickly. And of course, other times, they may see an image, so they may go up here, for instance, and that might trigger a memory of somebody, and they'll hear them say something. So that if that person's passed away, maybe they'll have to construct that and go there or remember it, And so you might get more than one. So the important thing is to not just take things at face value. What you really need to do in the therapy room is to just chat with the client just about things in general and ask them questions which will encourage them to use some eye-accessing cues. So ask them things that will make them construct something visual and see where they look and make a note of that person to calibrate them and find out what their set is, where they go and what they do. Ask them something where they may have to remember something auditory, some dialogue or something, and look and see where their eyes go and what they do. Ask them something about, feeling. If you say to them, how does it feel like to step in a puddle? And get a real sense of that, and then look at where their eyes go. And once isn't good enough. What we need here is repetition. We need to make sure they ratify this so that they are congruent all the time. So you ask them 2 or 3 different things to really get a feel of that particular person's eye-accessing cues and where they go. And then you have a model that you can use for that person. Now what I suggest is that you do this just in your everyday practice when you're with clients, and if you're not that used to it, then scrap the picture, because that doesn't work for everybody across the board, and just start to ask these questions, even if you don't use this technique in therapy straight away, to just train yourself to do it, even if you don't need to, all the time. And just notice in your everyday conversations when you're chatting to friends and family and people down the pub, all that kind of thing, and just really work on the skill until it becomes an unconscious thing, until you have full unconscious competence at using this technique. Because the best thing is, when you become fully unconsciously competent with this, what happens is you get a gut feeling. You no longer have to consciously do this. You get a gut feeling, and it leads you to ask more questions or to delve in different areas in the therapy room. And it gives you almost like a sixth sense. You don't realise you're doing it, but your subconscious is doing this and pulling this information, noticing where their cues are and what they're doing, and it gives you this gut feeling which allows you to have almost a sixth sense to ask the right questions to pull the right information from the client. And of course you can also use this for therapy. So if you do NLP, you can get them to change how they're accessing information. If you find out that their submodalities make things that are difficult less difficult when they hear them instead of visualizing them or stuff like that, you can switch it around. I know some people get people to look up to picture things and set them tasks so that they're not accessing kinesthetic feelings, which is often when people feel sad or depressed. So you can create some really inventive ways of using this as well. So there we go, a little short video on eye access and cues, and if you want to know more or want more free tips and resources, there'll be a little box where you can join our mailing list. So just enter your name and your email address and we'll send you those tips along.